We are on this kind of fork where society needs to decide if we are going down the totalitarian road or the freedom road. And of course, the freedom road is paved by Bitcoin. And the totalitarian road is paved by central bank digital currencies. I don't think we see an alternative here because we can't reproduce this idea of absolute scarcity. It's impossible to reproduce. I think what's really interesting to see, specifically in the German media, is, and I'm surprised to see this, until recently almost nobody was talking about the limitation of Bitcoin or the hard cap of Bitcoin of 21 million. Almost no one mentioned it in the mainstream media. Absolutely no mention of it, and now they start to mention it, and this is quite an interesting development because, I mean, of course, this is the main and the most important selling proposition for Bitcoin.
So today we're talking to Daniel Wingen. He's a Bitcoin entrepreneur and the founder of Tindebinder, a service that allows companies to use the Lightning Network in self-custody. He's also the vice chair of the Bitcoin Bundesverband, which is the German Bitcoin association that lobbies for the interest, especially of Bitcoin companies in Germany. You've been studying money from a very early age onwards, questioning its true nature and function. Could you tell us how your view of money has changed over time?
Thanks for the invitation, Daniel. Yes, of course. Thanks also for the warm intro. I'm not used to that. So yeah, thank you for that. Of course, yeah, my view on money changed a lot over time. So basically, I started thinking about money when the question arises, do we actually need money? Because in my youth, I've seen that so many problems were basically initiated by money, or not only private problems, but also problems of society and global problems. So like every problem I looked at, it seemed like money is the root issue or the root cause of this problem. So for me, the question was, would it be possible to have a world without money? Wouldn't be a world without money much better? Because it seems like money is kind of destructive for society. So this is basically how it started in my youth. And of course, my view changed a lot since then because I had no idea about how actually, or what actually the role of money is, because I've never thought about why money actually exists. And this is what changed my view about money a lot. So now I'm thinking about money as a tool for having a decentralized way of living and co-living with each other on this planet. And I think it's the most important tool to have a decentralized way of co-living with each other and a way of having rules without a ruler. Because money is kind of the zip file of all the information happening in the economy and all the needs everyone on the planet has, basically, which will be, compromise the wrong word, which will be kind of put together in one number, which is the price. And the price is a super important coordination mechanism for society, which helps us to have ways to coordinate with each other without the need for a central authority, making sure that resources are distributed where they are needed, basically. And this is why I would say today my view on money is, yeah, we need money in society. It's super important to have a decentralized society and to keep the society decentralized, because we have seen that specifically socialism and communism leads to very problematic power centers, which then can be misused to kind of enslave the population or the whole world, basically, if we would think about a world government. And this is, of course, money is kind of the counter position to that, kind of the antidote to this problem of figuring out how to deal with each other in a central way, while money is basically the antidote and helping us to deal with each other in a centralized way. But of course, our money is corrupted, and this is actually the problem why money leads to so many social problems and issues in this world.
So decentralized means a world without rulers, right? And for that,
yes,
we need what? A healthy monetary system.
I would say it's basically a world without someone who's in control of you. Because if you think about money in a digital age, we have the problem that money is being also controlled by central entities. And the more power we focus on central entities like states, nation states, but also large corporations and everything, the more power we give them, the more easier it is for them to corrupt the system and misuse it for their own benefit, right? So, and their own benefit, of course, is the individuals being part of this system. And I wouldn't say that everyone is like doing this intentionally. Most of the guys being part of the system, profiting from the whole system, probably do it not intentionally, that they don't really know what they are doing and that they are helping to destroy society in a way that they print more money out of thin air, which obviously leads to delusion of the value of money and therefore to inflation.
So what, in your view, is the worst monetary system there is? What kind of monetary system is that?
I would say, like every monetary system which forces people to spend the money is a bad monetary system. It should be like the spending money must be a voluntary thing, not a forced thing. And I think the worst monetary system was actually the monetary system I was really hooked to after identifying that money is a huge core problem of the society. And this was the ideas of Silvio Gesell of a so-called free money, or a demurrage money, you could say. Basically a money which loses which decreases in domination if you don't spend it. Basically, you receive hundreds of this money entities in the beginning, or money signs in the beginning of the month, and in the end of the month you basically have 95 money signs left if you don't spend it, basically, right? So this is a super worst case scenario, but at least it's an honest way of it's an honest way of central entities to get to the purchasing power of people who are saving money, because they see the money is getting less and not the purchasing power is getting less by increasing prices. So it's basically a more honest system, but it's definitely the worst monetary system I can imagine.
Yeah, and why were you hooked to it?
Because I thought it's a good way to solve the problem of monetary issues. So if everyone is like always getting money for free out of a like to sustain your way of living in a basic way, so nobody needs to care about money, and then you're forced to spend it and not hoard it. This could lead, this also leads to a way, like you can create money out of thin air, but also the money is disappearing into thin air if someone doesn't use it. So basically there could be a balance happening in the end, so Berne-Mint equilibrium, how the modern token engineers would call it. And this Berne-Mint equilibrium could maybe work, but to be honest, like this is a great idea if it would work, but it always requires a central authority who takes control of everything and identifying individuals and giving them money. So basically one entity taking control of all the money flow. And this, of course, is a super bad problem, because there would just need to be one totalitarian leader on the top, and he corrupts the system for his needs. Yeah.
So would you agree that fiat money is like a dishonest demurrage money system with hidden fees like inflation, whereas demurrage money is actually the honest fiat money where you lose purchasing power by losing units when you're not spending. Is it right? So you don't spend it. So that's like the threat we're facing with CBDCs.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. It's what's happening with inflation. Inflation. If you save money, inflation just takes part of your money you're saving. You just don't recognize it. You only recognize it when you want to spend your money, and you recognize, oh, the prices are way more expensive than when I started to saving this money. So this is how it loses purchasing power. And of course, in a demurrage money system, it would be an honest way to redistribute purchasing power by just taking the numbers away and like creating new money for that out of thin air and distribute to someone else. So it basically would lead to a equilibrium. I don't know. It could be, depending on how well it's balanced. But the huge problem is, like, how do you force someone to really spend money? Because we know you can just store your money in real estate or in corporate shares or in gold or in land, basically, right? So you can store your money in different ways, or your wealth in different ways. And this is, of course, a big problem for this kind of systems, why they never really went through and could establish a well-running system for a long run. I mean, there's only the Wörgl experiment in Austria, which ran for 2 years and then led to huge problems in the area. And of course, the central banks of Austria didn't like the experiment, so they shut it down as well. But I mean, you could already see that it's leading to problems by just printing money out of thin air. Because, I mean, you also need to prevent people to go into gold. And you need to also make sure they are not going into land, right? So land, you could, if you want to establish a system like this, it would not be possible to allow someone to own land, because this is basically a way to store your money, right? Without getting diluted.
But there was also a risk in the past that you lose your land or your gold. We had times where gold wasn't allowed, right? But would you agree that we had the worst form of money in the last century, with the risk now that we get into an even worse monetary system, like going from fiat to CBDCs, or maybe to the best form of money, which is Bitcoin? And I assume you agree.
Yeah, probably. We are on this kind of fork where society needs to decide if we are going down the totalitarian road or the freedom road. And of course, the freedom road is paved by Bitcoin.
It's quite
and the totalitarian road is paved by central bank digital currencies, where there's full control by central entities.
Yeah, so this is quite a fundamental fork, no?
Definitely
quite an important crossroads.
And society is still undecided, right?
Yeah. Most people don't even know the term CBDC. They heard of the digital euro, or the digital dollar, which is kind of a slight difference of what they already know. What kind of potential risks do you see with CBDCs? Because it's probably even going to get introduced if we're unlucky next year, right?
I don't see a huge risk with central bank digital currencies, because it will be only a huge risk if it's being forced upon society. And we don't see this happening, at least not right now, because all the suggestions happening right now is in a way that, of course, it should be adopted in a voluntary way and not in a forced way. So if this is the case, hey, I mean, if people want to use a completely surveilled monetary system, let them use it if they think that's the right way to go forward into the future. I don't think that's the right way to go forward into the future, and many people agree with me on this path, and this is why we decide for Bitcoin going into the future, a decentralized future and not a centralized future.
So you're positive that the most people will wake up early enough, and
100%, yes.
Mm. And is it really only CBDs or Bitcoin? Because the other alternative would be that actually Bitcoin will become the global monetary system. Is that the other alternative, or is there anything in between?
That's a good question. I mean, I don't know how the future will pan out, and it depends on how society decides in the end. But I mean, if we assume that everyone in society makes a profound decision based on profound knowledge they acquired previously, and really dig down into the question, what is actually money and what would be the best money, I think Bitcoin is definitely the leader right now for everyone who's asking these questions as the best monetary candidate. Mm-hmm. And it seems like it's progressing in this direction. And I don't think we see an alternative here, because we can't reproduce this idea of absolute scarcity. It's impossible to reproduce. It's like if you want to reproduce, it's not there anymore, right? Like how many ways of absolute or how many systems of absolute scarcity can we build, and is it then scarce anymore, right?
It's a one-off chance.
Also, we can't reproduce the security there. It's impossible to reproduce and bootstrap the security to a way where we are right now. So if I need to make a profound decision where to put my wealth, it obviously would be the most secure and most stable system in the world, which currently seems to be gold and Bitcoin, although gold is inflating more than Bitcoin. And of course, gold is already completely monetized and seems to be demonetized right now, while Bitcoin is on the way being fully monetized over time.
And if Bitcoin is the best form of money we've ever had, what aspect do you think still need improvement? I mean, your company, Tindebinder, enables companies to use the Lightning Network in self-custody. Aren't there still big issues to scale that? And doesn't also Lightning lead to custody services mostly?
Yeah, this is a good question. I mean, of course, we have the situation that Bitcoin is absolute scarce and it's the best form of money from many kind of properties, but of course, it doesn't scale to whole society. And of course, the usage of Bitcoin brings a lot of, I wouldn't say problems, but challenges with it. Yeah, you need to first understand if you want to control the Bitcoin yourself. You're completely responsible for everything, and people are not used to this. They need to relearn being responsible and taking full control over their own money. I mean, this is something, specifically in the digital realm, people are not used to. Maybe in the physical realm in form of cash, but not in the digital. Digital cash is still something which people have hard times to wrap their head around, to understand, there can be actually digital cash. That's possible, actually. Yeah. And of course, it doesn't scale on the base layer, which is a huge problem, but we see a lot of ideas happening here. Lightning Network, you mentioned this, and you see here like the lightnings in my background. Of course, I'm a huge Lightning Network fan. And of course, my company is being built on the Lightning Network, and we enable businesses to access the Lightning Network with a cash wallet, basically a super simple cash wallet, which is always on, and where, I mean, if you use the Lightning Network, it's kind of complicated. You need to do channel management, liquidity management, and you need to do channel backups and a lot of different kind of stuff. And this is not feasible for for business, even for the average person, it's not really feasible to do this. So we need to have service providers around the Lightning Network, and there are different kind of ways how you can structure these services in terms of sovereignty. And you mentioned it, custody already. I think custody, of course, we will see a lot of custody solutions, but not because Bitcoin doesn't scale, more because the first point I mentioned, people actually are scared taking full control over their money, right? They don't want to do this. They want to trust banks because they are anxious to lose their money or making mistakes and not having a point of contact where they can reach out to and ask questions and stuff like this. This is, I think, the most important reason why custody will probably always be a thing, and most of society will use Bitcoin in a custody way, or as bank money, as you will, and not as digital cash. But I still think that like maybe 20-30% of society will use Bitcoin in the cash way. And it's important to have this possibility to use Bitcoin in a cash way and to always opt out of a bank when and anywhere, basically, right? So opt out of one bank and go into another bank. And the Lightning Network is the key puzzle piece in between, because it enables instant transactions with instant settlement between all kind of systems. So be it a system where you have digital cash, like with Tindebinder, or with self-custodial mobile wallets, or even with an Albi hub, which you're running either on your Raspberry or in the cloud or whatever. But this is like where you have real cash, real digital cash, and it's completely interoperable with all the custodial solutions, with banks, brokers, exchanges going into the Lightning Network, but also all the other second layer solutions which are being built on Bitcoin right now, like Arc or Fedimint. So there are so many different kind of scaling solutions which are being built on Bitcoin right now. And all these different kind of scaling solutions, from completely external sovereignty by using a bank to completely self-sovereignty by being your own bank, there's like a scale of different kind of solutions which you can choose from, and all of them are connected through the Lightning Network for instant settlement with each other.
Okay. And what do you think is the best option to make like private payments what is the best second layer solution? Which one? Lightning?
Lightning right now, I mean, of course, I mean, if you put eCash on top, it's even better, right? So if you have eCash either as Fedimint or as Cashew in a custodial way, it's even better and more private. Yeah.
And could you explain how that is set up? So I have Bitcoin on the base layer. How do I get it to Lightning to eCash?
eCash, yeah. So eCash, there are two ways of how eCash can derive, either from a federation or from a custodian. But the federation typically is also custodian, but it's not just one person, but multiple persons who don't trust each other. So it's kind of a decentralized custodian, you could say. But yeah, federated eCash is basically, you just do a Lightning trade. You could just create an account on a federated mint. A federated eCash mint. So there are several running right now, and you just create an account there. Or it's not really an account. You just join the federation, and then you can generate your private keys and start to accept eCash. So you just similar to Bitcoin on the base layer. You basically just sign transactions with a key. So you don't need to have an account, or the custodian doesn't really have an accounting system where they have like, okay, this is user A, B, C, and these are the transactions of user A, this is the transactions of user C, and this is the amount of user C. This is not happening in an eCash system. So the provider of eCash systems, they don't know anything about their users. They just know this is like the amount of Bitcoin I'm holding, and this is the amount of eCash I've given out. And this should match ideally as 1-to-1. So it's full reserve basically. But yeah, this is how it works. So it's basically just using Bitcoin with signatures and sending Bitcoin through generating signatures for your nodes, for your eCash nodes you're owning, and nobody knows who you are. Not the mint, not the custodian. Nobody actually knows who you are. You can just receive digital cash and send digital cash. But of course, if you lose your keys, it's similar to a situation if you lose your Bitcoin keys. You lose your money, you lose access to your money, because even the custodian doesn't know your keys and can't basically send the nodes to someone else.
And once you have money in your eCash in form of eCash, there's also no problem getting it back to the base layer.
Yeah, I mean, there are so many bridges in the meantime. So first of all, like every transaction is natively happening on Lightning. So you can anyways move from an eCash wallet to a Lightning custody wallet to a Lightning self-custody wallet, whatever you want. It's like completely interoperable, everything through Lightning. If you want to go to the base layer, there are different kind of services like Boltz Exchange or Loop services, which are typically also already integrated in all the different kind of solutions. So you as a user don't need to care about anything. You basically just have a wallet, scan a QR code, and it's being paid. Whatever, if it's been an on-chain transaction, a Lightning transaction, eCash to eCash transaction, you don't need to care. It's just happening automatically.
Interesting. So that sounds very promising. So Bitcoin will become the base layer of global monetary payments.
And trust, and a decentralized time, basically a decentralized clock in the internet. So there are so many use cases for Bitcoin.
So that's what you believe,
which goes way beyond. No, not what I believe. What I've seen, what I'm seeing right now. There are startups and companies building stuff on Bitcoin which has nothing to do with the monetary aspect of Bitcoin. Right. So there is so much stuff happening because Bitcoin is a trust layer. You can put data on the blockchain where you can basically have a trust anchor which demonstrate this data was existing in this form at this date. And this is so much value which you can generate from that. Yeah. You can generate identity. If you have revocation, you can do identities. You can do all the tracking of supply chains and everything. You can do all the blockchain use cases someone was promising like 10 years ago. You can do it now with Bitcoin, and more companies building these use cases on top of Bitcoin. And this is great to see. So it's, and also a clock. We need a decentralized clock. No one need to trust the time giver, basically. And this is Bitcoin. It's a really interesting decentralized clock, which goes into this trust issue of data, because you can demonstrate that data existed at a specific time, as I mentioned. And this time is not defined by a centralized time giver, but by a completely decentralized time giver nobody has control over.
Interesting. Very promising. Yeah. So also the coming year looks very interesting. I remember you were talking with Nico Jilch on a podcast, and I'm quite sure most Bitcoiners hate communism and like a free market. But in your podcast with Nico Jilch, you mentioned that you believe Bitcoin lead to a form of communism, right? A state where money becomes less essential for survival, in evolving into a kind of reputation-based system. Could you elaborate a little bit on that idea?
Yeah, so I was basically thinking about the situation. What actually will happen if energy prices go to zero? Because I mean, I wrote a lot of pieces about Bitcoin mining in 2018 and also 2020 together with Professor Dr. Philipp Sandner, who unfortunately died last year. But we did a lot of research on Bitcoin mining and how it affects basically green energy and also the cost of energy. And we came to the conclusion that Bitcoin, look, like with everyone we talked to and all the incentives we dug out and we analyzed, it all led to the situation. And we couldn't provide proof at that time, but it all led to the situation that we would say, okay, Bitcoin actually will decrease energy costs over time and will completely transform energy production to renewable energies over time, and much faster than we would have this transition without Bitcoin. So the question then is, and this I couldn't stop thinking about this. I was always thinking, okay, what actually will happen to society if energy prices go to zero? So what will happen then? And with increasing automation and increasing AI integration into society, basically we will come to a situation where people might not need to work anymore for the basics, actually. Of course, maybe if they want more, or if they want to have like do investments or control where society is going, or co-control in which direction society goes, probably money will still be needed. But I think in probably 20 to 30 years, nobody actually will need money to survive on this planet not only survive, but live well on this planet, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had similar ideas, but I believe the technological advancement, particularly actually AI in combination with robotics, could bring us to a point where traditional human labor becomes largely obsolete. You know,
but it's not only getting cheaper if energy is really cheap, right? So it's not cheaper than human labor if energy is still expensive. But if we decrease energy prices so much and so drastically, which Bitcoin promises, then it's like a complete revolution, and it's probably happening quicker than we think.
But isn't there an issue with Bitcoin mining making electricity cheaper, and at the same time depending on electricity being not abundant, because that's the whole value proposition, right? The connection to the physical world.
And energy will never be abundant. So you always have limited energy, and you will always need to decide how this, not really for free, almost for free. I mean, it goes to almost zero. It will be probably never completely for free, but it will be like negligible, basically. The price will be negligible in order to get everything in your which you need to have a good life. If you want to have more, if you want to do more, if you want to like control or co-design or co-building society, then obviously you need more energy and control over more energy, and money is a good way to control energy.
Mm. A perpetual motion machine, is like a hypothetical device that can keep running forever without any input of new energy.
I don't believe in stuff like this.
but people have tried to figure out such a machine for hundreds of years, and I think AI combined with robotics and
might be able to achieve that.
Could mimic the idea of a perpetual motion machine, because not in terms of thermodynamics, but it could lead to like a self-sustaining system. And once you have a self-sustaining system, you can provide for all the basic human needs at no cost, and that would fundamentally transfer.
Yeah, but this is not how energy works. Energy is basically, everything is energy in the end. We just need to convert energy into electricity. This is our problem, right? But even our body is energy, right? So everything is energy. So we have energy all around us. The question is, how can we harvest this energy? And with harvesting, I mean convert it into electricity and electrical energy. And this is the big problem. And perpetual motion machines, like where electrical energy is generated out of nothing, this is not possible. It's like the same with printing money out of nothing. It's
that's not what I mean.
Of course, you can print the money signs out of nothing, but you can't print money out of nothing. This is the reason why the money signs decline in purchasing power.
But that's not what I mean. It's not like thermodynamically possible. But with AI can improve itself, and it can, to a large extent, together with robotics and automation, probably sustain itself to a certain degree. And that's not a perpetual motion machine, but it could kind of keep all the food production running. It could keep the electricity infrastructure running without us needing to put much more effort into it. That's what I mean. That's what was the parallel I try to draw.
Exactly. And what we also see is like the cheapest energy sources or electricity energy sources are these sources where there's basically an unlimited amount of energy which we just need to convert, saying solar, wind, but also like water and heat from earth. And there are so many ways where you have like a constant being of energy in a specific place, which you just need to convert. And of course, the conversion machine, this needs to be maintained. But in the end, the maintenance, you need to build it once and then you need to maintain it. But the cost of maintaining this conversion machine is way, way, way lower than digging oil out of the earth, transporting it to a coal plant, then burning it, then filtering the stuff out of the air again, and so on. So this is way more expensive and requires a lot of labor. While if you just have like a machine which is sitting there and converting the energy into electricity, and it just needs it's just running. Maybe there's after a while there's some maintenance needed, but that's it.
If we get to a state like that, what's going to be left of capitalism then? What sort of free market can we then still have in such a situation? And will we have new needs that need to be fulfilled in entirely different ways? Or what do you think?
I think sure. I still think that ideas only can be realized with money. So money will still be there. It's just that the basics are solved for everyone. And then if you want to be a creator, if you want to become active, money is still an important part to control energy and make your creation reality. And I think this will not change. So capitalism will still be there. It's just that you don't need to be part of it. You can just enjoy your life and focus on yourself, because like as there is abundant energy or enough energy available for everyone to live a comfortable life without the need of being a super large creator or building companies, bringing ideas to life. You can also say, I want to focus on myself and want to just like do an inward journey and not build something outside. Whatever everyone wants to do, probably everybody can decide for themselves how they want to spend their life on this planet, either in a like relaxed way, or in a I want to build something and move forward. But it's probably nobody needs to think about surviving the next few years or having enough money for the next years and everything. So this will be completely eradicated, I think.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it doesn't have to become like that, but I think there's a chance it will become like that. And if we really don't have to worry about food or shelter or basics like energy, water anymore, I think it is quite a fundamental change where we also have to maybe question our role in society again. And maybe there will be, fundamental change. Maybe nothing fundamentally will change. I don't know. But going back to like Bitcoin entrepreneurship in Germany, that's basically what you're operating.
My favorite topic,
Your favorite topic.
Right now.
Does Germany, do entrepreneurs have specific challenges or even opportunities in Germany? What's your view on that?
Yeah, I would say we have specific challenges here because Germany is probably one of the most regulated country in the world regarding Bitcoin. And in Europe in general, or maybe Europe in general. But also, I think what's really, but there's also a very interesting opportunity for German entrepreneurs because the Bitcoin community is so strong in Germany. And it's very easy to find customers and find fans for your product or your service in Germany and promoters for your product and service in Germany because the community is so tight and also growing like crazy. I mean, I've also initiated 21, it's called, or 21 World together with der Gigi and Markus Turm and Dennis and some others. So this is also a movement which helped to grow, or which will help to initiate more Bitcoiners and generate more Bitcoiners through meetups and podcasts and a different kind of content. And I think this community is like growing beyond this kind of, let's meet in private into business ways and into politics and into corporates. So everybody who's into Bitcoin wants to do more about this and bring Bitcoin to the next level and also infuse infuse the people around him with great ideas about Bitcoin and information about Bitcoin so that they can make a profound decision for themselves and educate about Bitcoin. So there's a huge need for that. And I think this is why people are so open to talk to everyone and help each other out to grow together here, because we see that if we not only make sure, but if we provide the right ways how Bitcoin can be adopted, then, and of course, I think this is also important. Like if we find the right way that Bitcoin can be adopted in our environment, and this is most important. Like let's fix our environment first, then we can go beyond our local environment. But focus on the people first. This is why I think a lot of people in Germany, maybe Austria, Switzerland, you can count it into that. But like people talking the same language, in this case German, are really eager to help each other out and bring Bitcoin to the next level because they see how it would help the German-speaking area.
Yeah, and going back to the specific challenges, you're an entrepreneur, you're a founder. What specific challenges do you face setting up a company in Germany that you do not have in other countries?
Yeah, so for example, it was really hard to set up it would be really hard to set up a broker, a custodian, or everything. Every company kind of which touches money for the customer is a huge problem. It requires a lot of capital in Germany to get started. In my case, so we don't actually control the money of our customers. So we offer a self-custodial, completely sovereign solution for businesses. So we don't have any issues with Mika right now. Actually, Mika is kind of positive for us because it brings or it leads to the question for entrepreneurs to, okay, do I actually do completely KYB and trust banks, or do I actually use Bitcoin as cash? And wouldn't it be cool to use Bitcoin actually as cash and be not reliant on a bank and do all the KYC AML requirements and everything? So this is I think a advantage for us, but still there is some regulatory risk for us as well. And this is the reason why, yeah, and this, I think this is probably the point you want to make. This is the reason why I started the Bitcoin Bundesverband, because I wanted to make sure that politics is not doing any stupid stuff which could ruin my business or the business of other Bitcoiners. So this is why, yeah, I was really interested in joining a Bitcoin association in Germany, which is close to politics or is doing lobbying with politics. It wasn't existing, so there was an association, but it wasn't basically active. It was completely inactive. So I found some co-founders, you could say, to initiate something here. And once we published our idea, a lot of things happened. And in the beginning, we thought we probably will be a association with like 5 to 10 members. And now there were almost 80 founding members. And I think currently there are 5 to 10 requests to join the association every day. So we need to make sure that we now have all the infrastructure and the process set up in order to handle this growth on that scale.
Yeah, so the Bitcoin Bundesverband was founded a couple of months ago. I've been there.
In September,
yeah. So what has happened with regards to lobbying?
Mm-hmm. In regards to lobbying, not so much happened right now. There was one activity we did so far, and this is sending letters to 90 MDBs, so members of the Bundestag. And we basically sent them an offer for Bitcoin education. So we told them, hey, there's a lot of happening with Bitcoin globally, and there are many countries already having, or some countries already having, and other countries thinking about a Bitcoin reserve strategy. Mm-hmm. This is something you want to understand. We help you to understand this and why they are doing this. So we basically created an offering for MDBs to, get to know Bitcoin from the scratch in a very in a very efficient way, basically, so they don't need to spend a lot of time to understand Bitcoin. And this is what we want to provide. But at the same time, we also asked them 14 questions about how they want to deal with Bitcoin in the future if they get elected, because specifically if you're not German and listening here, you probably don't know it, but we will have an election, or probably because Elon Musk is very vocal about that. There will be an election in Germany, and the AfD is the only alternative for Germany. But so I think this is very interesting, because we asked all the politicians to answer these 14 questions, and so far we got also some answers. We also got some feedback back for the education program. So there is some stuff happening here, but I wouldn't say that we started really do lobbying, because right now we have more the problems we are facing right now are more organizational and structural. So we weren't prepared for this kind of scale, right? So the tools, the systems, nothing was there in order to provide a solid growth at that scale. So we first right now and needed and still are in this process of building out all the systems and tools in order to be able to scale that, because, and this is the biggest problem we are facing right now, there is no one we can hire to do this. So it's all reliant on people who are willingly helping out to build all this stuff. And of course, you can't do internal data management and financial stuff helping, or you can't ask anyone to help out here. So you need to build it internally first with your internal personnel. In this case, the board members are doing it right now. And of course, they all have full-time jobs or startups they are working on. So it's a little bit slow right now, but once we have the budget to hire full-time people into the association, this will increase a lot the pace specifically for lobbying work. So
you accept donations, or that's how you finance yourself?
So the association is being financed through memberships. So members can be companies. They will be actually the only valid members who can also vote at the annual assembly or any other assembly. And then private individuals can also join the association and take part in working groups and help out with their time. And in order to join the association as a private individual, it's also way, way cheaper. It's more like, okay, you want to support us financially or with your work, just join it for a small amount. I think it's 210 euros a year. And then this way you can support the association. But of course, if someone wants to do a donation, there's ways to donate to the association, either on-chain or with Lightning. And of course, there will be another option in the future to help the association. I think this will go online next week already. And this will be on the website like an offering from our members. So we have different kind of members who are in the brokerage space and offering brokerage services, but also doing other services for consumers. And consumers were already asking, hey, can't I just use a Bitcoin Bundesverband code, a discount code or referral code in order to support the Bitcoin Bundesverband that way? And so a website will launch with all the different kind of Bitcoin Bundesverband codes, where then the referral fees will also support the Bundesverband in order to be really quick in starting active lobbying.
Yeah. So I'll put the link down in the description for people who want to support your association. The AFD has come out in support of Bitcoin, and now the FDP has followed suit.
As well. Yeah.
I was actually worried, because that's how it usually goes in Germany, that once the AFD publicly is pro Bitcoin, all the other parties are going to say, no, we're not going to have anything to do with Bitcoin. But the FDP relatively quickly also came out with the Minister of Finance, Christian Lindner, saying that the ECB should have a strategic reserve. The Bundesbank has a strategic reserve, and tomorrow
of crypto.
He said
a crypto reserve. Yeah.
Okay,
so we were already quite concerned if he really understands Bitcoin, or if he's still in this progress of really understanding the difference between crypto and Bitcoin. But maybe it's, I can tell this already, but the FDP also answered the 14 questions already. And the answers were really positive. So they understand the difference, and they are really only talking about the Bitcoin treasury. So it's probably only that Christian Lindner needs some help to really understand it, but there are others who definitely understand it. And I think so today is the 9th of January when we are recording this, and tomorrow there will be, or is it today?
No, it's tomorrow.
I think it's tomorrow. It's tomorrow, right? Yeah. So tomorrow there will be some event organized by the FDP where Christian Lindner has invited some well-known Bitcoiners from the German education ecosystem to really talk about Bitcoin, and only about Bitcoin, not about crypto, which is really good. Yeah.
But the Bitcoin association, your Bitcoin Bundesverband, is not involved in a way. That's not also because of you.
So we are not really involved in organizing this. So what we do is we offer our members to help them to get a spot there if they want to join the the event, because of course the FDP is talking closely with us, and also our main chair, our president, you could say, Philip, he is also well connected to the FDP, or was already well connected to the FDP way before we started the Bitcoin Bundesverband, because he is kind of active in the politics and also part of parties here in Germany, or he was part of the FDP.
Yeah. I mean, not that the FDP's word is, you have to put much weight on that. But
general, and we don't even know if they get beyond the 5% hurdle. This is another problem.
Indeed. Yeah, that's maybe the last desperate attempt to actually get votes. I don't know. But in general, very positive. What do you expect to happen in 2025? We have the strategic Bitcoin reserve in the US that maybe is going to be announced in a couple of days. And that's, in my view, going to lead to, I don't know, more countries joining in. What do you think will happen?
Oh, it's really hard to say. It's super hard to say. I think we will definitely see more demand for Bitcoin, more people waking up. Mainstream is waking up slowly. We see it already. So I think what's really interesting to see, specifically in the German media, is, and I'm surprised to see this, until recently, almost nobody was talking about the limitation of Bitcoin, or the hard cap of Bitcoin of 21 million. Almost no one mentioned it in the mainstream media. Absolutely no mention of it. And now they start to mention it. And this is quite an interesting development, because, I mean, of course, this is the main and the most important selling proposition for Bitcoin, that it's limited to 21 million. And I think this will be one reason why more and more people, specifically in the German speaking area, will wake up to this scenario. And of course, an increasing price will probably help. So we will definitely see a bull run this year. See a great time for Bitcoin startups. Definitely a lot of funding probably for Bitcoin startups in the next few months and quarters. But still we need to be careful, because volatility is still there, and society is still undecisive. And it will still take some time until society really decided which money will be the global reserve currency in the future.
Yeah. I think, it's very bullish. And I think once you understand how Bitcoin works, and you understand the consequences of its limitation, once you do the math, you understand it probably has to go up forever. Of course, with volatility, but it has to go up. So, I'm still a little afraid, let's say, that that's what actually now the institutions and the states are understanding, because they have experts telling them that, but still psychologically, for most normal individuals, let's say, it's still, I think, hard to grasp that Bitcoin could also go from 100K to 1 million. So I'm afraid they will join in late at the party. But in general, of course, it's very bullish.
And in the end, it doesn't matter when you join. Basically, it's completely irrelevant. Of course, you can profit from the monetization process, but in the end, it doesn't matter if you earn Bitcoin for the work you're providing to the society. Then it's the best form of preserving that wealth into the future, right? So independent of when you started to save in Bitcoin, it will be a benefit for everyone. Of course, the more Bitcoin you've already saved, the more you're profiting from increasing prices, or from increasing purchasing power. I would say it's not really prices, but it's more like increasing purchasing power, right? Some people might say this is kind of unfair, but to be honest, I mean, there's still a risk right now, right? I mean, the risk is getting smaller and smaller, and almost negligible, but there's still a risk involved. You can lose everything, right, theoretically.
But it's probably already the least risky asset. I mean, there's a risk with everything, but I would have
maybe not in the short term. In the short term, the euro is probably less risky, but in the long term, I agree. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I would have liked to see the normies getting in earlier, before the institutions jump on the bandwagon before the whales do. That might not have perfectly turned out, but still, it's very positive. And at the end of the podcast, I ask my guests to share what they think is the most important for newcomers to understand about Bitcoin in 30 seconds. So keeping the short 3 seconds.
That's the short attention span people have in social media. So that's kind of the idea behind it. So if you had 30 seconds of attention of a newcomer to orange pill a newcomer, what would you say?
I would say Bitcoin is rules without ruler. And now ask yourself how these rules can be enforced and how these rules can be changed.
Okay, interesting. Thank you so much for sharing your insights and perspectives today. As we move forward, it will be fascinating to see how these developments unfold and shape the future of Bitcoin in Germany, but also globally. Do you want to add anything at the end? Anything you want to share?
Yeah, stay humble, stack sats, open lightning channels, and enjoy life. And breathe.
Breathe. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Daniel. Thanks.
Bye-bye.